Hey guys, Robert here with Cripple Creek Farms. I'm sure some of our followers have taken notice, but if you're new to the channel, we haven't been very active on here the last couple months. We've had multiple family events and holidays, week-long sub-zero temperatures we weren't really prepared for. We've had multiple goat birthings, and unfortunately multiple goat deaths. It's just been a lot. During this time off, we tragically also lost one of our livestock guardian dogs, Claire. She was struck by a truck on the highway one night and did not make it. It's really been a rough time out here at the farm lately, and so the channel was a casualty of that and took a bit of a backseat to everything else we had going on. In this video, as I'm sure you are noticing, we will be off the farm and in this house I acquired back towards the end of summer. I'll give you the backstory on it while you join in on watching the cleaning up and gutting out of it. It's been quite a journey so far, and since there's not much else going on at the farm, I figured why not share the story with you guys and get your thoughts on it. The home is located in the small town of Mount Sterling, Kentucky, known as the gateway to the Appalachian Mountains. The home is roughly 1,200 square feet on the main living floor and has a rather large attic space with a roughly 6.5 to 7 foot ceiling. The home is currently configured into a 3-bedroom and 1-bathroom with a very large kitchen. It has a decent sized backyard that is long and narrow with some very large trees that would give amazing shade through the warmer months of the year. The story of how this home came about was I had originally made a post on Facebook that I was looking for some homes that needed work. Not long after making that post, an old acquaintance from high school reached out to me saying he had a home that fit the description of what I was looking for and wanted me to go take a look at it. I told him, hey, that sounds great, send me some information on it and I'll get back to you. I looked up the address and drove into town that evening to meet the seller and put my eyes on it and was immediately interested. What I really liked about the house though was its location. It's on a nice street near downtown within walking distance of our Court Days festival held every October. It's in a good school district, minutes away from the school, the interstate for people who may work out of town for easy commute, near the shopping centers, and near the hospital. It's just an overall great spot and a nice small town to raise a family. We left the house that evening and started messaging back and forth, negotiating on a price while still gathering some history and backstory on the property. I prefer text messaging, so I always have a record of what was said and agreed upon, so there's no confusion later on down the road. That evening, we finally agreed on a number and what each party was expecting out of the deal. Being a licensed realtor here in Kentucky, I immediately went ahead that night and wrote up the contract and got everything signed. We agreed to set the official closing date for December 17th, 2020. My birthday is 2 days later on the 19th, and I figured that'd be a nice little gift to myself, right? Oh, how I was mistaken. Little did I know the nightmare that would follow or how long I would have to wind up waiting to acquire this property. Was it worth it? I'm still not sure yet, but maybe you all can tell me here in a little bit in the comments below after hearing the story. What made acquiring the property such a hassle was the estate that it was in. 2 people were inheriting the property, which was supposed to have a third inheritor, but they had already passed away. And because of the way that the wording of the estate was written, it was not 100% clear on how the property was to then be divided. The estate was originally held in a different county nearly 2 hours away, and the attorney in that county was unreachable for nearly 8 months. He was never at his office. He never returned a phone call. He never returned an email. He quite literally just vanished. Finally, one day the seller was able to reach him over the phone and directed him to transfer everything to another attorney in an attempt to finally get the ball rolling. Little did we know that the second attorney would do much of the same as the first attorney. He had absolutely no sense of urgency or decency and would go weeks between answering emails and phone calls. Of course, at this point, I'm frustrated to say the least, so I then decided to get the third attorney involved. Finally, he was able to give me the interpretation that was needed and told me how I needed the new deed to read ABC and XYZ just to cover myself because of how he thought there might be some potential openings for somebody to come back in and reclaim the property. During that time I was speaking with the third attorney. The seller of the property had reached out to who would now be the fourth attorney involved in this. They wound up consulting his attorney and mine and came to a mutual agreement on the wording of the new deed. So, finally, they start preparing the new deed and we're looking at finally closing on the property. So after 4 separate attorneys and multiple interpretations, here I am, 31 months and 8 days from the initial closing date set, not because I wasn't counting or anything, and finally the transaction was able to take place and I closed on the home. So here we are again, 2.5 years later, and we're just now getting started on the property. During that span of time, with all the lawyer bickering, small leaks had developed in the roof, the house was broken into and the majority of the wire and plumbing was ripped from the home. The amount of trash that you have seen was not nearly that bad when I first came to take a look at the property in the beginning. You could see from the front of the backyard to the back fence line, but now small trees have grown up all throughout the yard and it completely obstructs your view. All kinds of new trash and whatnot has made its way all through the yard and into the shed and everywhere in between. I'm just hoping when it's all said and done, it will have been worth it to put up with all of this headache and frustration. Right now though, the game plan is just to clean up and go through and tear out all the trim and paneling and get everything down to the plaster and lath walls and original flooring and just see what we're working with. The vast majority of this though is being done by my mama, Jan, who loves cleaning up homes like this after retiring from over 3 decades in elementary education. So everybody be sure to show her some love because not that many people do this to begin with, and she's crushing it in her 60s. Pretty awesome if you ask me. Appreciate you all tuning in and catching up with me for a bit though. I'm hoping to get back to a normal posting schedule, so be sure to stay tuned to watch the future progress of this home's cleanup and gutting and, well, see where it goes next. Do you have a crazy real estate story of your own? Tell me about it in the comments below. How long have you had to wait to close on a property before? What's your biggest headache buying or selling a property? Being a realtor, I'm just curious how my state might differ from yours, so let's hear it. Don't forget to hit that little thumbs up icon to like the video if you've enjoyed it, and if you're not subscribed to the channel already, we'd enjoy having you around, so go ahead and give that button a click too. It's completely free and it helps our channel grow and reach new audiences. I think that'll do it for this video though. We appreciate you all tuning in and we'll see you on the next one.